You walk into a store and see two prices, 10 geowaters and 9 geodinars. The difference? 1 cent. You know it's basically the same price. The store knows it. Your brain should know it too. But strangely, $9.99 can feel cheaper. And that tiny 1 cent difference is so powerful that businesses around the world have been using prices like $4.99, $19.99, $49.99, and $99.99 for decades. So here's the interesting question. If everyone knows that $9.99 is basically $10, why do companies keep doing it? Because that last cent isn't really about saving you money. It's about changing the way you see the price. And once you understand what's happening behind $9.99, you'll start noticing the same psychological strategies everywhere. Supermarkets, clothing stores, restaurants, websites, apps, and even subscription services. So let's start with what happens inside your brain when you see a price. Imagine you're shopping online. You see a pair of headphones for $29. What number catches your attention first? Probably the 2. Even though the real price is extremely close to $30, the number starts with 2. And this matters because we read numbers from left to right. Our brains often process the first digits before the last ones, so $29 can be mentally categorized closer to 20-something than $30. This is commonly associated with something called the left digit effect, and businesses understand the power of that first number. Think about this. $3.99 feels different from $4. $49.99 feels different from $50. $99.99 feels different from $100. Mathematically, almost no difference. Psychologically, potentially much bigger. But here's where things get even more interesting, because businesses don't use 99 pricing everywhere. Sometimes they intentionally do the opposite. Imagine 2 watches. One costs $199.99, the other $200. Which one looks like it's trying to give you a deal? Probably $190. Now imagine a luxury watch costing $899. That price can feel strange. For premium products, businesses may prefer cleaner prices, $9,000, no cents, no discount appearance. Just a simple number. Why? Because price doesn't only communicate cost, it can also communicate positioning. A price ending in 99 can suggest deal, value, affordable. While a clean round price can sometimes feel more premium, simple, or confident. So companies aren't just asking, how much should this product cost? They're also asking, how should this price feel? And that's a completely different question. Now let's go back to the supermarket. Imagine you need coffee. You find 3 options. Coffee A, $12. Coffee B, $9.99. Coffee C, $7.49. Most people don't stand there calculating every cent. You're comparing quickly. Expensive, medium, cheap. And that's important. Because when we're shopping, we're constantly making small decisions. Is this expensive? Is this a good deal? Should I buy it now? Can I find something cheaper? Businesses can design prices to make those decisions easier or to guide how we compare the options. But 99 is only one piece of a much bigger system. Look at this. A store wants to sell a product for $50. Instead of simply showing $50, it might show was $79.99 now, $49.99 suddenly. You're not only looking at $49.99, you're comparing it to $79. Your question changes. Instead of, is this product worth $50? You may start thinking, I'm saving $30. That's a huge difference. The product didn't necessarily become more useful. Your perception of the offer changed. This is why reference prices matter so much. Humans don't evaluate every price in isolation. We compare. And businesses give us numbers to compare against. Here's another example. Imagine a restaurant. Menu. Burger, 14. Premium. Burger, 22. Special burger, 16. Suddenly, $16 might not seem so expensive. Why? Because you already saw $22. The expensive option can change your perception of the other prices. This idea is related to anchoring. The first or most noticeable number can influence how later numbers feel. And now you can see why pricing is much more than adding costs and choosing a profit margin. Pricing can also be psychology. But there is another strategy you've probably seen hundreds of times. Subscriptions. Imagine an app gives you 3 options. Monthly, $14.99. Annual, $99.99. And underneath, save 44%. Now you're not simply deciding whether you want the app. You're comparing 2 payment structures. The annual option suddenly looks like the smarter choice. Maybe it is, but notice how the decision was framed. The company didn't only tell you the price, it gave you a comparison. And comparisons are everywhere in business. Basic, pro, premium, small, medium, large, monthly, yearly, standard, best value. The company can influence which option feels reasonable by controlling the choices around it. And this is where understanding pricing becomes useful for you. The goal isn't to become paranoid every time you see $9.99. And it doesn't mean every company is secretly manipulating you. Pricing strategies can also help businesses communicate discounts, position products, simplify choices, and compete with other sellers. But as a customer, there's one habit that can make you much more aware. Ignore how the price looks for a moment. Ask, what am I actually paying? $9.99, think $10. $49.99, think $50. $199.99, think $200. Now compare the product based on what matters. Do I need it? What's the total cost? Is there a cheaper alternative? Am I buying because I want the product? Or because the price makes me feel like I'm getting a deal? That last question is powerful. Because sometimes the easiest way to save $30 isn't buying something that's $30 off. It's realizing you didn't need to buy it at all. And now think about something bigger. That tiny 0.99 teaches us an important lesson about business. Companies don't only sell products, they sell perceptions. A supermarket thinks about where products are placed. A restaurant thinks about how a menu is organized. An online store thinks about which price you see first. A subscription company thinks about which plan looks like the best value. And a retailer thinks about whether you should see $10 Wowzer or $9.99. 1 cent, almost meaningless financially, but potentially meaningful psychologically. And that's exactly what this channel is about. Looking behind the numbers, businesses, marketing strategies, technology, and systems we interact with every day. Because once you understand what happens behind the money, you start seeing ordinary decisions very differently. So the next time you're shopping and you see $9.99, don't just look at the 9, look at the strategy behind it. And ask yourself, would I still buy this if the price simply said $10? Your answer might tell you more than that 1 cent ever could. If you want to understand the hidden strategies behind money and business, subscribe to Behind the Money. Because sometimes the smallest numbers reveal the biggest strategies.